welcome back, folks. We're going into the pistol round of Fabriken versus Royals. Royals already 1-0 up and starting on the attacking side. As we look in towards split, this is a massively favored map for Royals based on what we've seen in the past, but Fabriken aren't complete noobs here. Interesting strat. They're actually breaking the wall with bullets this time, but I guess because there's 4 players mid, it doesn't cost them that much to do so.
Yeah, I like that. I've just seen a tweet come up from Neff that says, even when I do nothing, we still win. So clearly feeling a little bit confident about going into this one. Do, of course, have them kicking it off on the attacking side. Already, after showing a lot of early presence into middle, they're just going to put the pressure firmly onto this A site. The smokes leaving them on the crosses. It is actually Shadow to start things off, and the Molotov has denied so much space. They can't actually push just yet. In fact, they're going to have to reroute themselves through upper. Definitely not the initial plan, but in fact, they're going to go on a 4 rotation back. However, there's already Nicola ready and waiting, and with a slow down to try and deny them.
They're not checking their close right. Leo's able to pick up the first frag, but the return by Meadow, a double. I didn't think they were going to get away with that one all too easily. K-Biz now being spotted, goes for a slightly wider angle, but with oh, what a shot! 13 health left, though. 20 seconds until the res, and he would have had to stick the plant. That's 1-0. The round picked up by Fabriken, but it came damn close. And that Meadow hold down towards the B bomb site really what saved the day.
I think that the initial denial of the A site as well, that single piece of utility that was invested into it, something we mentioned previously when we casted them play, that in their pistol rounds, it seems like the guys over at Fabriken actually have a fairly heavy set onto utility rather than actually buying into that extra armor. And it definitely works out for them because they completely denied that fast push into the A site, with only 2 players there. I feel like they would have definitely had a spike plant. For now, though, well, it's looking like we're going to get more of the same. An attempt to push in this direction, and Shadow's just ruined them! He's killed all 5 players in a matter of seconds. And while he's definitely looking to challenge for that 4K earlier on for maybe the fastest set of kills.
That was gorgeous, man. Just tapping away at the heads. Not all too often you hear, first of all, that ace soundtrack, but secondly, that quickly as well. I think that is the quickest ace I've ever seen on Valorant so far. I'm excluding any times that Arrays went in and ulted 5 people because it just doesn't count.
What about if you get flung forward by a Viper? Does that count?
I think so. I think so. We haven't seen anyone do
What
that,
if
Tom.
it's Arrays getting flung with
no,
the
then no.
combo?
Thank God, no. I don't care if Arrays headshots 5 people. No, I'm joking. But yeah, we haven't actually seen anyone do that, right, Tom? This whole tournament. It's interesting.
I assume that would just be in bad faith, but
yeah, but you know, I'd do it.
Yeah, but well, I'm pretty sure that says more about you than anything else. Either way, though, this is a bit of a bonus round scenario. It's worth mentioning that the defensive side don't come into this with a whole lot of weaponry, and the attackers now have their full buy in play. Looking like they have a fairly heavy initial start towards this B site. Of course, it's always made awkward by the amount of utility that's available for Cypher. Meadow, one of the star performers in the series earlier on versus the Party Parrots. And if he could play the same yet again with a combo on with Nicola, who knows if they can hold on to this round.
Oh, those were wall bangs onto Meadow in the back. That is nasty. The cage, interestingly placed on the jump across by Leakin. Somehow he survives, makes it into the corner, and will indeed get that plant before eventually being taken down by a blast pack of Leo. Still, a 3 versus 2, and a difficult retake to come in. With an operator in hand, Shadow won't be able to take advantage of the low HP Raze who lurks down on the bomb site. But Leo sure will. A quick kill, though, coming through as Leo taken down from below. They weren't ready for the K-Piz peak, and that's a free upgrade to an operator. A 2-1 scoreline. And we mentioned how a couple of times whenever we've done split, you know, since the last update, 0.50 patch, this map is much more friendly to attackers. The spawn locations have been moved forward and forward for them, backwards for defenders, as well as modifications in towards middle to B. It makes it much easier to actually get a B split, and therefore attackers or defenders have to commit many more resources towards defending that mid area the majority of the time now, because you just can't allow them to move towards the B side. We expect about 5 rounds to come through from a team like Royals for it to be, you know, a pretty even spot moving forward. Anything deviating from that gives an advantage to the team that's above their expected scoreline. And with 1 on the board this early on, it is a little bit concerning. I mean, you imagine if Fabriken lose this, especially as they invested into that operator, which now the attackers have, that could be huge. A big start for Royals.
That's a really nice flash coming up to at least start things off. Leakin will get that first pick, of course, still with a few questionable weapons. Like, definitely not the ideal scenario for them. And that's going to be actually a pretty decent time to throw in that ultimate, giving a lot of information about where the remaining players are, knowing that there's actually nobody left onto this A site. Well, there was, but they had to retreat, as Shadow definitely didn't have the right weaponry to try and fight them at range. His element of surprise was all he really had. The question is, are they going to utilize his ult to try and get them back into the round? He has it up on the top. We'll see if it is going to play a part.
Oh, you're welcome for that, Tom. Big brain spots by me. Yeah, of course, the yellow thing up the top means they have their ultimate. I mean, who doesn't know that, though? Am I right? I can't believe it's taken me 4 weeks to realize that, Tom. It's actually making me very sad. Small brain play.
Technically, it took me less time because I wasn't here the first 2 weeks.
True, but you also didn't realize. So.
Yeah, well, I've realized it now, so there you go.
Well, you know, after you got getting told. If someone was behind that box and got sprayed down, you just alt F4, really, wouldn't you? I thought about it once, you know, just camping outside there, but I feel like there's no real merit to it, because if they're exiting that far, there's usually going to be more than one of them, and you're going to find it very hard to spray them all down behind a very easily wall-bangable box.
Well, nonetheless, we've seen the scoreline equalize. The good thing about the save, of course, is it does actually keep the defenders with somewhat of a buy. A few of the players with some extra cash, but Latex having to pretty much spend everything in. I'm almost questioning whether or not it would have been worth Shadow actually upgrading, because the Spectre's not one of the more viable weapons, especially when he's playing in such an aggressive position, or passive position. It just doesn't really work. And fair enough, if it was maybe the Cypher on the B side playing up close, that might work. But hey, well, you're going to have the AWP coming out of Leo. And in the meantime, the rest of the attackers are going to put the pressure straight on towards middle, looking to try and push straight into B. Nicola denying them, at least for now, as they do look to try and just push through his slow. And actually, they're going to put the pressure onto the guys around the spawn instead.
There's lots of room to move with for Royals. I mean, despite the fact that they're at that man disadvantage. They've got really significant map control towards upper B, but actually getting down there is so difficult now, having been spotted especially by Cypher. The rotate through by Nicola, now 2 players in position. Meadow needed to survive, though. Now they can focus Nicola and take that frag for free. Moving around the back of the site, Cape is going to be going for the plant safe behind the box. Being covered as well up on top, but that player already spotted. The blast pack's going down, but left in the open. Leo somehow gets that, but Cape is through for the headshot. 19 health remaining. And an absolutely incredible clutch by Team Royals. Now 3-2 up. That was insane.
That's the last thing you want to happen after what was a pretty decent hold initially. Like Nicola denying them with that push up, able to get a kill as well. And the worst thing about that is it still leaves them at least in a little bit of an awkward spot, unless somebody has actually dropped the gun already for Latex. Yeah, he's going to end up with the Judge, which, hey, it's not a bad shotgun, but definitely not the weapon that you want to have going into a round where the rest of your team has a 4-buy. For the attackers, of course, they took some financial damage themselves, but it's looking like they're going to go back to one of those classic B rushes we've seen from them previously. They like to put the pressure on, they like to switch up the pace, and I think that's actually what sort of makes Royals actually differ from a lot of teams that we've witnessed so far. Is most teams play these slow defaults. Most of them end up with like maybe in a few attempts every once in a while to put pressure on somewhere. Royals are more than happy to one round just run B or just run into A. That was actually how they ended one of the maps earlier today when they were playing against 2G4L. So we'll see if they're going to do something of the sort later in the map. This time they decide against it.
So with the wall down, they're gonna wall over, gonna ult through, but they don't know about Latex. They're so focused in the back of the site. Oh no, he misses the initial shots. The wastes a Raze ult in the end. And also with a Sage deleted, there's no heals for the low HP on the two of them in the back of the site. Meadow could have had it if he just took down DPS. Everyone else is so low. Shadow not able to take advantage of low HP. He's got the operator, but one shot is all he needs. Hype ready to return the frag though and leave Leo in a 1v2. The Phantom is the perfect weapon. This is the agent that you want, really. The nade, the blast pack, everything in play. Waiting for that plant to come through. The nade pushes him forward, though. And a crossfire is what takes him down. That's so unfortunate, Tom. I mean, they ended up in a position where, realistically, Fabriken should have walked away with that. And it was one extra bullet landing for Meadow that would have won them that round.
And I feel like that's back-to-back rounds, actually, where they probably should have taken it over the line. So, yeah, a bit of an awkward position now for them financially. 4 rounds in a row. Not quite enough for the defenders to continue their purchases. It would just have to be some pistols in this round. And the real worry is if these rounds continue to go the way, I don't think this really damages the confidence of Royals. I think they build on it. I think the clutch is actually continue to push them forward, even if it's a round where they should be winning easily. When somebody gets like a double kill or a triple kill, we then just see their players start to perform even better. And that's just a terrifying prospect. The other thing as well is they're very confident in their defense. Like we've mentioned it already plenty of times, but they've had some very dominant halves on the defensive side. So if they even stick it out and manage to get themselves, like 6 rounds, I think they're going to be so confident going into the second half.
That's a huge issue for them. Latex might want to try to cross left. He could through that smoke. It's definitely, or past that smoke, I should say. It's definitely viable. They're going to actually push on through. Hype bailing backwards. That timing might work out perfectly. There is one player on the left side, but it's an operator, and that's too easy to trade. Meadows trying to get back. Now just going to tuck in, hold the angle. They're pushing close. The slow will stop them from peeking for now. Buying a little bit of time. My God, what did Nicola just do to Leakin? That's filthy. A quick one sheriff, as Tom coined.
Juan Sheriff.
Oh, yeah, pardon me. The one sheriff. Well handled. As the spike goes down, they've recovered good weapons. They can just save these at this point. But Meadow wants to go all the way forward. Gets one, and in a 1v2, I guess, why would you save now?
Nope. Well, you've jinxed him. You've cursed him. He is just going to run away. It's understandable. Their finances are going to be in a good position next round anyway, but you have no idea where those remaining players are. It's really not going to be a possibility. And with how the crossfires have currently been held by Royals as well, that makes things so much worse. Like you saw in the last round where there was an attempt to walk into that site. Before he even crosses over the line of the site, it's already got 2 players shooting at him. So save the gun, bring something into the next round. Maybe they can double up with their operators if somebody wasn't quite saving enough cash. But already it is starting to become a bit of a worry. As we sort of mentioned in the last map, we expect Royals to take this one. And with already a 5-2 start on the attacking side, it is a pretty good showing. However, we did also see some pretty decent attacking rounds earlier today versus the Party Parrots after what was a relatively close first half. The only thing is this half does at least need to be close. And, well, they need to start pretty much bringing it back right about now.
Indeed they do. 7 on the board for the defense isn't terrible, but anything short of that is going to be a bit of a travesty. Royals Looking to move in towards the A bomb site for now with a passive hold in sewers and the bomb or spike. Excuse me. Gonna be picked up. We'll get there eventually. We'll get used to it. In goes the boom bot. That's gonna be heard. The player up above nades surely on its way. Oh, a tag through the cage. Leakin's still running while trying to spray away, and Latex is good to find that. These are some fantastic openings for the defense. The ultimate on its way from Hype. He's made it up above, going straight on. Okay. He
saw a ghost.
He must have. I don't know what that was.
What a kill. I think he's also heard players reloading, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to end up, well, now in a 4 versus 2 scenario. They aren't going to be expended, which will at least hold them back a little bit longer, but they were definitely hoping for a kill from that, and instead now this clutch situation looking bleak. However, Royals have been renowned for fighting this back. It's DPS once again. We saw him with an incredible couple of plays, and he manages to get the first kill onto Meadow. But finally, we see a resurgence. It takes the fall by, it takes the purchase to finally come up for the defensive side. Now they could look to try and retrieve anything they need before getting that defusal.
Well, they'll get the defusal eventually, and hopefully they've recovered the weapons that they wanted. 5-3. We said it's the start of a long road, but that was relatively clean. I think the nade could have been a little bit earlier, moving in towards heaven from Raze after throwing the boombot down below. As soon as the operator took contact, I would have, especially with the cage up, tried to just lob that straight through towards the doorway. And a bit disappointing that Hype throws away the ult as he did. I mean, throwing it into the corner was... yeah, I can only say, I guess, maybe like you said, he saw a ghost. Thought he saw something move in the corner of his eye. And he's watched one too many horror movies.
Maybe there was a secret Omen pick that we just didn't know about.
Possibly.
Maybe our observer Ruben's actually playing Omen in the server and just TPing around to spook people.
Wouldn't put it past him. Well, Latex there with the opening. They're going to back off on mid. The slow is going to, well, serve its purpose, as its namesake suggests. You see the movement you've got now in it, though. It just feels so much less impactful. That wall, Nicola could have peeked through, but I think he realized he was being baited, and there were still 2 players watching for it.
Oh, the nades, just everything utilized by Hype makes things so awkward, and actually denies the ultimate as well. That could have been brutal if it had landed. Now it's left all onto Meadow. He's got to try and clutch this out for his team, and there's nothing he could do. Hype, he's the utility man, he's the entry fragger, he's got every role down to a T, and Shadow, well, he's got to fade into one, as he needs to try and hold onto that operator. Nice shot onto Leakin at least. I imagine they're still going to try and hunt this down, and well, they don't want to throw too many players into the wind. And in fact, at this point onwards, they're just going, you know what, I'm going to wall this one off just for safety purposes.
Definitely not the wrong call. Just, I mean, if you can spend 300 and essentially guarantee the round, or 400, excuse me now. Forgot about the update. Oh, please don't peek him again. Please don't do it. He saw you go there. He's going to do it. Okay, the shot's missed at least, and the bait pays off. But still, I mean, that was a little bit scary for a moment, right? He's finding 3 kills, lots of exits, saving an op potentially. Shadow did a good job up until the last. Oh, he's gone for the glass cannon. First time being able to say that, Tom.
Yeah, I guess from his perspective, when you did so much damage in the last round, you're probably feeling the shots. Has the ultimate as well. If they do just try and rush him down, he can just basically knock them all back and stun them. I would say that's probably a better position to have a rifle in if the ult is something that's been considered, but here we go. This is the change of pace that we spoke about. They've started to really put pressure onto mid. The ult from Breach is also going to hold back Nicola. He just has to try and retreat into the backlines, and because of that, this split begins. Again, it's all onto Meadow, and he gets nothing. They've been completely ruining him. Someone who's had so much success in the past, and in this match, Royals have just shown why they are our champions, why they are the team to beat. And the defenders, I don't even know what they can really do in this scenario. 4 players remaining. Sure, you'd want to attempt a retake, but realistically, the save's probably a better call.
I'll live to fight another day. These weapons are going to be more useful in the next than thrown away into some position where you've no information to play off of. That's gotta hurt, though. I mean, it was played so well by Royals. They push forward. They hear the... So first of all, they ult into uppers, and then we saw them attempt before with the mid-control, but they were slowed down by walls and slows of the Sage, this time popping it in time. But the Sage has to fall back. She throws her first slow. They continue to push through it. And the second one comes from down towards spawn. At that point, they realize, well, Sage from upper B has fallen back. At most, there are 2 players B, but probably only the one. As we know, Cypher's been playing there. They blitz forward, take the kill, and the game's already lost. The round's already lost at that point. I mean, they've overrun it. They've taken practically no damage. They still have a Sage up to get heals. They walled off spawn to stop any retake. And that's it. Gotta just save the weapons at that point.
Even this round, the purchase that's coming up still has some questionable items within it. I think Latex might be a little bit too attached to keeping this SMG into rounds, and I have to admit, I'm not a fan of it. Like, you leave your extra vulnerabilities in a round where the rest of your team are purchasing. It just doesn't seem worth the risk. Luckily, Shadow has still got his operator, and he has been one of the main sort of saving graces for this side so far. Close angle at least taken, so an opportunity, but with how solid the entry frags have been and how often retakes have been needed, I wouldn't like to be holding a Stinger.
Of all weapons, really. I mean, close range, it has its viability. Oh, DPS on the sneaky play up behind. The Stinger catches a sight on him, and indeed a bullet. That's all. I think no matter what he had there, he was going to be dead. In comes the raise. The shot missed. That gives away the position, and the rocket forces him forward right into the operator of Shadow. Actually, it's Shadow, sorry, taking that shot. I was confused for a second. They knew he was coming, but they lose the duel.
I'm guessing just a wonderful shot from him. Even still, the spike's been planted, and oh, nice shot from DPS. He doesn't manage to transition. However, his teammates are very quick to trade. And now Meadow with a shot at redemption. His holds at the B side haven't been too successful. Oh, that's just mean. They didn't even need that information. The peek out for Meadow, though he almost gets both, but I'm not sure he expected Hype to be in exactly the same position. Again, this man sits at the top of the board. Mentioned it yesterday. He had, I think, 1 or 2 quiet maps, and I was like, nah, that's not normally what we expect from him. And I think he's top fragged almost every single map today. Like, he has been phenomenal. I think DPS might have stolen one off him, but with the way that he's entry fragging as well, that's a rare thing in FPS shooters, that your entry fragger, the guy taking most of the first fight, is the man leading the scoreboard. It's also very rare that if that man is top, you're losing.
Well, I mean, that's true. If you're finding those opening duels for free, there's not a whole bunch you can really look negatively towards. Map control it brings is so valuable. Down towards B, they're taking a 3-man B-side mid-stack. A is so weak at the moment, but there's no way for that read to be had. Over on the side of Royals, though, with 8 rounds on the board, man. I mean, Tom, this is ridiculous. It's the final round. Ultimates are, I mean, pretty much even. You've got a Cypher one for Fabriken that puts them ahead, but double Brimstones. Getting the spike planted in this kind of round is going to be difficult unless they deal with Brimstone first or wait out the ult when it eventually comes through. That nade, it's going to be big. Cypher in the left corner. The ult as well, going to keep him trapped, push him right into Hype. Oh, no!
He didn't die, but that was definitely a mistake. Luckily, I don't think it's going to matter, as the rest of the team gone pushing. That is a very interesting wall. I don't think that's what they meant. Maybe that surely wasn't a bait, right? That must have been a screw-up that just ended up working out for Hype. Nicola, of course, most of the damage he's already taken has come from an ultimate that he walked into. Now takes a clip from a nade as well. Will at least get the heals off, but at this point they know exactly where he is. It's a 9-3 half for the attackers. impressive stuff from Royals. And while they are definitely well on their way to getting themselves a second victory back-to-back.
It's pretty damn incredible. With a 9-3 scoreline, you sort of have to take a step back and appreciate everything that Royals have brought us throughout this grand final, throughout this tournament. Indeed, their split play has always been phenomenal. Party Pirates were almost able to take them off their high horse, but not quite. And moving into this, well, there's just no contest. Not for now. And I want to hold out hope for Fabriken. We've seen good games from them. I want to believe that when they swap to the defense, they'll be just as good. But I just don't.
They've shown some attacking side prowess earlier. They're going to have to bring it out in full force today. Not the start they were looking for. Leakin on the site has picked off one. There will be a trade back. As Meadow goes ham and gives them the site. They are going to get the spike down. There's still a breach that they have to worry about. And DPS is in prime position to maybe cause them a few issues. I like the position of the cam, though. It should at least set them up nicely to have that small amount of information and know that there's somebody coming from that direction. Cape is unable to do anything to try and clear out these players. Spamming a few shots through, and it's actually DPS to win that duel versus Shadows. Make things look a little bit more possible. The trade's going back and forward, still leaving us in a 2v2, but the time is ticking away. They get another kill into the 1v1. Leo, all he has to do is bait the clock. That's all he needs at this point. The chance of a defusal are slim to none. Oh, he is going to be knifing his way through the wall, but there was no time anyway. Both will die to the bomb, and it is going to be another onto the board, at least for the side of Fabriken.
Is it the start of a comeback? Well, only time will tell. There's certainly a long road ahead of them. When you look over towards Royals, their investment should be non-existent. Just classics. And again, just remember the scores up the top are swapped, so Royals are 9-4 up. When you've got classics, I'm always interested to see what strategy teams pull out of the bag. You know, we see some that go for just default holds. They try to take close range angles and use the right click of the classic, almost like a shorty with a little bit more long range capability, but less damage. But this is a mid stack, a fairly hefty one as well, and double openings, but the pistols blitz out, and they trade back, in fact.
And they've managed to get themselves some weaponry, and of course the only real disadvantage now is the fact that they don't actually have any armor behind it. Meadow, after getting his teammate deep into that mid position, it's actually going to be Shadow, and he only has a pistol. Like, he needs to hit the instant taps, and he's not going to. Capes has found another kill. Now even planting the spike might not actually be worth the risk until the rotation comes in from Leo. You don't want to give them an opportunity to get it to half before your teammate is even in a place to defend. And you can see Meadow, he's just trying to spot out the remaining players, but that's the information they needed. The breach will start his rotation back as well to challenge this A site, and I'm actually fairly worried here for Fabriken, Mitch, as they're not in the best of spots.
And this can definitely work out, especially with the 1-for-1 trades. Leo gonna go up above. That's an angle that's not expected. Great movement, but he loses as Cape is immediately out for the trade, and he even has to go in for the spray. And honestly, Tom, I can't blame him. What a round for Royals. Now on double digits. A Thrifty and the Salty right afterwards, just dropping it down. That's just not a round you can lose.
No, that's awful. That was full classics, I think. I think maybe one person bought up a pistol because I saw someone drop down.
No, I think that was even a classic that they just rebought. They sold and bought because they'd spam bullets, I think. Are you talking about the player that was running down into ropes? Yeah, he just sold his classic and bought it again, so he'd have full ammo.
Wow.
just you can't lose those rounds. You really can't.
That is atrocious. And well, of course, the confidence is going to be there. This is something I mentioned in the early rounds, that Nobody seems to play quite like Royals do on this defensive side. They like to get aggressive with their B plays. They like to push forward, take control. They'll do it on the A side as well at times. Middle's the only one I don't think we've seen them push all the way down, but obviously a high risk play. But they're not going to allow you to just gather up map control. The interesting thing is more based off this push in. Now the cam may have just spotted out all the information they need, as it is going to rotate the Cypher. Leakin just making sure that he's in position in case they do consider going back towards the B site. And at least that small push in has at least baited somebody away from mid. And actually, they've put a firm position into A instead.
$25 They're not really giving themselves a lot of time, are they? It's a risky play. The spray down should be pretty easy to connect, and not even a kill to be found. That's pretty rough, but the ultimate down after 12 seconds left. They can get this done. They can get it planted. They gotta go fast, though.
They will get it down, but this is where the retake begins, an upgrade onto the weaponry, and not a whole lot in terms of utility. A quick trade to at least make things a bit more interesting, as they still have players on the site. Hype is going to be brought back into action as well. There's only a single ult onto the Brimstone, which could potentially clear out some of the corners. The problem is, it may also deny their defusal. Meadow, he can't quite do enough. And it's a race to see who can get that defusal first by the look of it. I think he might actually just give that up to his teammate to try and get that ultimate through.
Tom, if you were to give percentage chances of Fabriken making a comeback, where's it at right now?
4.6.
I can tell that it's accurate because it took you so long to think of the decimal point. That's what sells it.
Yeah.
It's like when someone asks you, what's your name? You want to give a fake name, and if you give a second name to it as well, like you put a middle name in there as well. Oh, man. That's how spies work. Learned it here. That's why I never believed James Bond was who he said he was, you know? It always had to be James William Bond. Then it's like, oh, okay.
Also, he always says his surname first. He has to think of the first name. He's like, call me Bond, James Bond. Who
Between that
speaks
and
like
walking.
that? Weirdos. Already though.
Spies.
Double ultimate going to be coming in again. We've seen this work for them a couple of times. This time, though, not so much. It has held them back. It's delayed them in time, and DPS has already picked up another kill for himself. He's having a lights-out performance. Nicola will at least be able to pick off one, but the boost up! The double peak coming in. Another kill comes up for DPS. A triple for him in the round, but they slaughter their opponents. Map, series, and, well, tournament point for Royals once again. This time looking far easier. Of course, the last time they found victory last week, it was a 13-12, 13-12. They are looking to batter their opponents in the grand final. It was a 13-7 scoreline on Bind. They're currently one round away from doing even better on Split. And I'll be honest, Mitch, they look unstoppable.
You know, Royals with 12 rounds now as the score is obviously swapped up the top. But what isn't swapped is the 1-0 map lead that Royals have. If they find this round, it's all over. They've been winning ecos with just full classics. Absolutely everything going their way. In goes the ultimate from Leo onto DPS. Okay, 2-for-1 opening duels. A is open for business. They can actually go down and get the spike planted, but then down goes Shadow. This is very dangerous. He had the spike, and oh, that nade, goodbye, and good night. Leo comes up to really just hammer it home and make sure that it works out. And the attackers, they've won a round. They've got it. 5 on the board. Now they've just got to do that a lot of times. 8, isn't it? 8 consecutive.
Oh, didn't you do maths?
Yeah. Never said I was good at it. There's a reason I don't work in mats, and I work here.
Oh. That was impressively bad, but
Thank
yes, it is 8.
Easy.
Even still, though, there's going to be no break for the offense. It's not like they've done enough damage to the economy of their opponents to really deny them. And while the round, although it worked, was seemingly more of a cheese strategy, an ultimate used, and a very aggressive play from Leo, something I'm not sure will be easy to recreate. He has at least been able to upgrade to the Phantom, and the slight change in weaponry might be able to help him get the ace in this round. But to be honest, with how things have been going, they might need some sort of hero to get them a couple on the board. Already it's looking like they're trying to bait the initial rotation by showing presence into mid and then going straight back to this A play once again. It's the tried and true, and it's worked for them once again. Cape is the first to fall. It is, however, Neff to find a trade, but again, it's going firmly in their favor. DPS, however, keeps things even a little bit longer and more worryingly for the attackers. They've taken a hell of a lot of damage.
Hell of a lot of damage, and they haven't got a medic to heal that up. Both the Rays and the Brimstone remain low, but Meadow takes out Leakin and leaves a 10 HP DPS. The man is an animal, and he's played very well in the past, but I don't know. I'm not believing in that one. And it looks now like we're going to see another round up on the board for Fabriken. 6 away now from equalizing. You like that, Tom? I like that. That was pretty good. Pretty quick.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because 6 and 5 is 12. See?
Sure. And 9 plus 10 is 21.
There you go. Now we know what's going on. What I'm quite happy about in this game, honestly, is that there's no ambiguity to whether you die to the bomb or not. Like, how many times it happened to you and, I presume you, definitely me, in CS, especially on maps like Nuke, where the bomb's going to explode, someone's 20 HP, and you're like, is he all right there? I don't know. Whereas now you know, okay, it has this radius, it's planted here, so if I stand right on this spot, I'm good.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not sure I'm as a bigger fan of the fact that even if you're really, really close to getting away, it's still just instant. And also, you can be killed when it's already technically already blown up. Is kind of weird. Like if you walk into the radius of the blast, it will just kill you. I don't know.
Because it's radionite, so I guess it's something like a nuclear thing. You know, we got portals and stuff, so it's that kind of science fiction. It's a nice opening duel towards B, and I look at the body language immediately. Fabriken decided to back off and move in towards middle. They need that control, and it should be easier to get now that they have to commit more resources to B, especially without a Cypher cam, because Cypher's dead. He can't just spot out the tunnels. I think that's been counterproductive, actually, what they've just done. They've pushed the players down to the site that they're about to push.
It's only going to be a 1-for-1 trade. The ult helps out, but even still, well, it looked like a nice attempt from Neff, but I don't think he realized how much control they'd already managed to gain. This now looks fairly bleak once again for the defenders as they start to streak rounds back. Now, we have seen this before from the attacking side as they managed to get a fair few streak together. Fabriken have shown that they definitely can play on the offense. However, you feel like at some point someone on Rose is going to be able to drag them through a round. They've had so much individual skill, so much talent shown on this roster. This round, at least, though, is more just going to be an attempt to catch players as they look to retreat, steal some weaponry away. Of course, doing damage to the economy is not so much of a matter at this point because if they win a single round to come close to resetting them, it ends the game. However, the push is actually going to go elsewhere. So no chance they'll save the operator for a second round in a row. I'm just trying to hunt down a gun, but doesn't look like it's going to be found.
5 in between them, Tom. You're not a man that believes in comebacks, not a gambler man, are you? So
no, I know. I've heard you are, though. Didn't you lose
to
Angel
again? Come on. God damn it. One game, all right? It was one hand, and he got damn lucky with what he had. He knows it. I was only like, at the time it was a lot. It was 250 euro when I was a university student.
Oh, it sounds like he wrecked you, but you know. Here we go. This is
one.
very aggressive. A push coming in from Cape is going to start things off, but he actually gets spammed through the smoke by the looks of it. And Hype's actually now caught in a horrible position. They're going to isolate him. This aggression started so successful, but it's Leo to make things very awkward for them indeed. They're going to scan to find out the remaining members, and more importantly, they've lost their own Sage, so no real chance of gaining too much in this scenario. They're not going to be able to res anyone. Heals aren't an option. And in fact, that's something that Nicola has got saved ready for this exact scenario.
Leakin, the only player with an ultimate for Royals, can't really do a whole bunch with it. And the flashes coming around the corner, well, they're fairly ineffective. No one around B. It should be pretty clear for the taking. Neff, the only one lurking in this area, caught behind the smoke, and that's going to be a nice clean plant in a 2 versus 5. At this point, I think saving is definitely the right call, and you can see that both the Brimstone and the Breach are going to go and do so. I mean, they're making it happen. I can't deny where Fabriken are at. Their attack is looking a lot cleaner than I expected, than any of their defense did. They've just made it so difficult for themselves with that terrible first half. So difficult for anybody to believe in them. 9-3 down, making that kind of comeback that you just don't see it every day, and especially not when you come into the attacking side.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is, like, even this round had its moments where it looked like it could slip away from them. Like, it was a fantastic spray through from Leo to actually deny that being potentially more than just a single kill. And if they didn't manage to get those trades, who knows where that could have gone. So definitely a worrying sign of some of the things that are being attempted. Although the fact that it seems like Royals are having to take bigger and bigger risks might suggest that in terms of ideas, they might be running out. Their A aggression has actually been shut down quite regularly by the fact that Meadow has been putting up a cam there just to basically deny anybody from coming up on the flank. And that was one of the things that we sort of sung the praises of Royals of, is how good they were with their aggression. They're going to attempt it once again, by the looks of it, towards B, in fact, as the cam from Leakin is already going to be removed. But it's DPS, an important pick, one found to give them the advantage. And, well, considering I believe the res was used last round, this time the attackers can't bring back that one player.
Definitely winning in terms of the ult economy as well for Royals. Man advantage, ults in their favor. Still the very standard early round hold of 2-2-1 on A, mid, and B. The only difference is that Cypher is the agent towards middle on the B side. Hype gonna move all the way forward just to get some of those blast packs down. No damage connected on the back of it. And was that was Breach on Royals that ulted towards heaven. Very odd. The swing through, oh my god! Leakin and Hype take them all down in that round. Blink and you'll miss it. What a way to close it out for Royals.